Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show's about to begin. Myles, let's put on a show.
Showtime, let's go.
Yay! Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Golden Nuggets with silviaeldawi. And today I am joined by another titan in the real estate industry.
A titan?
Another powerhouse.
That's so cheesy.
Another powerhouse, Myles Bush, the CEO of Phoenix Homes. Welcome to the show, Myles.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. The powerhouse wink. That was something quite special.
I
like
couldn't
that.
resist. He's a
and
powerhouse.
Titan. Wow, I'll pay you later.
Titan. Well, you were we were just having a conversation about me. I've only been here since 2017. You've been here since 2006. And I said anyone that's come here since before the crash is more or less.
We're old school, aren't we?
You're an old timer.
The greys are coming through now as well.
What brought you to Dubai?
What brought me to Dubai? Running towards tax-free income, running away from crap weather, high taxes. Probably the same as most expats.
Right.
Probably the same reasons you came here.
Exactly. Weather.
Yeah.
I ended up with SAD, seasonal affective disorder.
Did you?
And I was like, I can't just write off a third of my year because of where I am. Yeah. So I'm going to go to where the climate is.
Most expats are the same, aren't they?
Yeah. And it's a tax.
They're either running towards something or they're running away from something.
But I did hear that maybe rules are changing when it comes to tax, that Rishi Sunak's planning on tax. You know how if you're a US citizen, you're taxed globally. I think Rishi's planning to do do the same. So that
he's gone soon though, isn't he? He's gone.
I hope so.
See you
this
later,
year
Rishi.
will be an interesting year. Now, okay, so you are one of the original old school real estate.
17 years.
And since you've probably, I'd say over 800 agents have passed through your empires.
I've employed, 800, 900, a fair few.
Some of which are running successful agencies of their own these days.
Some of them I'm so proud of. They've gone on to set their own things up and they've killed it. They've really done well. And then some of them, we won't name names, but some of them have flatly failed as well.
Okay.
But I think anyone who's been here as long as I have, they've got those success stories and they've got those failure stories underneath their belt.
And we'd love to hear what you could, what the success.
You want the goss?
I want the goss. I want the success. Well, also I want the recipe, the blueprint for the success and the failure, because you have seen a lot.
Yep.
You've been through a lot.
Yep.
You've built 2 companies. Tell us about your journey, your real estate journey, because I know it's a bit of a rags to riches story, and we do love a rags to riches story on Golden Nuggets.
I don't think I'm anything different to a lot of the CEOs over here. I mean, or the directors or the founders, whatever fancy title you want to give them. But I mean, it was a rags to riches story. I came over with 400 quid and I was sleeping in a friend's maid's room, which was nice. No bed. Yeah, exactly. Bit of sarcasm there.
Did you have a window at least?
Huh?
Did you have a window at least?
I had like a half a window, like a prison cell window, and a lilo. So I was actually sleeping on a lilo, which was lovely.
With water underneath, or
no? There was no water. No, but it was that forms you. That makes you appreciate things.
Yeah.
So it wasn't it wasn't put on a plate for me. I scrapped and I was fighting, and back then 17 years ago I was a junior leasing broker, as a lot of these guys start. Yeah. Did reasonably well, sort of grew a department, became the sales manager, I think my title was at the time, I can't remember. And then I bought a controlling share. We did a couple of big transactions, and some of the guys went out there and bought Ferraris, some went out and bought Lamborghinis, and I went out and bought a controlling share in an existing real estate company, which back then was Powerhouse, which hence the wink at the beginning of the beginning of the podcast. So Powerhouse, when I got involved, it was a 3-man company, and then a few years ago I sold the business. I sold my part of the business, and I think we went from a 3-man band to a 83-man band, something like that. But it was a sizable. We built a sizable company. It was a solid agency. But that's in the past.
And it was Powerhouse, but then known as PH.
PH, rebranded and everything else, but it was the same.
And you sold that and set up Phoenix Homes, which has the same initials.
Coincidentally.
Coincidentally.
Yeah, it wasn't on purpose either. I know a lot of people probably joke and think it was, but no.
Okay, Myles, the question that's hot on everyone's lips, and I'm sure people will skip to this on the chapter markers. Everyone thought that you'd retired when you sold your shares in Powerhouse.
Yep. According to the newspapers, I had retired.
What's the real story?
Wow, that's
NDAs aside, and how much can you tell us?
I can tell you everything. There was no NDAs in that side of things. Look, I fell out of love. At that time, I fell out of love with Dubai, and there was a big part of me that was thinking about moving back to England. I also had really fallen out of love with that style of agency. The whole 50-50 model, that was my life for 10, 12 years. And then it was sort of only towards the end where I just thought, this model is outdated. And somebody else is going to come along with something better. And I wanted to be ahead of the curve. So yeah, I took some time out. The newspapers, it said I had retired. A lot of my friends thought it was a typo and it was that Myles is retarded. But it's, it doesn't matter what those articles said. But I stepped away from that. I massively fell out of love with that company at the time. And I wanted to go my own way, but there's no regrets. I don't look back at anything with any negativity, regrets. I wish all of those guys well. Some of them have gone on to do really good things. Some of them have gone on to do disastrous things. I wish them all good luck. But, I went down a different path and opened up a different chapter. So there's no regret. There's a lot of real estate companies, interestingly, for sale in Dubai. I know a lot of companies that are for sale or who want to sell. I think I'm probably the only person who's done it twice, who has built a big company, exited, and then has done it again.
How do you know they want to sell?
Oh, I know. I won't name them here, but I know of 10, 15 real estate companies which are for sale at the moment. And because they're either they're struggling or they've fallen out of love with it, like I once did. But for various different reasons, and I'm so proud. At the time, it was Powerhouse was my life. That was my life, and it was like selling a child. It was awful. The day that I sold it, I was like, have I made the right decision? And it was very emotional.
But what part did you fall out of love with? Because it couldn't have been the 50-50 part, because that you would have been winning more than you're winning now.
No, I make more money now on the 80-20 model than I do there because our revenue is so much higher.
Okay.
So, and our fixed costs are so much lower, what we do now. So I make more money now. I don't mind telling you that. I make more money now from Phoenix than I did at Powerhouse, even though Powerhouse was a much, much, much bigger company in terms of headcount.
Yeah. I suppose less headache as well now.
A lot less headache. Yeah. We have a simple company now. We have a simple company. Powerhouse was a typical high street agency, very glamorous Christmas parties. I was taking 70, 80 people to the Burj Al Arab every year for a black tie event. Very luxurious offices, very, but I look back on it now, it's all unnecessary. It's all unnecessary. It's a gimmick. All of those things are gimmicks. And if you are like I said earlier, you end up ripping off brokers on that 50-50 model. We're a very simple company now. We have a nice professional office, but it's not flash. We have nice parties, Christmas get-togethers, but it might be for a
smaller venue
for a quick dinner. Not a black tie event at the Burj Al Arab. Okay. So our fixed costs are so much lower. But that whole 50-50 model, I think we're ahead of the curve. And I've got no regrets.
Before we go on to Phoenix Homes, I want to kind of understand a little bit about and I like that you're business minded instead of, I'm sure you did go out and get the flashy Rolex as well.
No, this was loud. I don't treat myself at all.
But instead of investing in cars, the watches, you bought a business. Like how did that, what's that thinking?
I think now, when you get to your 40s, 50s and stuff, that's the logical thing to do. But in hindsight, when I look back at my thought process, it was weird.
Because you were in your 20s
I was
at
a
the
kid.
time. Yeah.
I was 25 years old. I was 25 years old and buying companies and setting up companies. It's not that's not the norm.
No,
that's not the norm. You know, and I'm guilty as everybody else. You know, I went out and bought the flashy cars and watches and everything.
Oh, he did
later.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. but that came later. You know, I was very, very focused on building that on building that company, which is exactly what I did.
Okay.
So there's no regrets. You know, it was an interesting journey from sleeping in somebody's maid's room to owning some of the largest companies over here.
And I've done my digging, read some articles about you.
Oh God.
And you were quite the record breaker in your broker days.
Yeah, I did all right.
You did the largest land sale, the largest lease, the largest villa sale, but now that's all gone to pot now.
Yeah, exactly. but that's
been
fine.
wiped
You know,
off your...
yeah, exactly.
How does
knocked
it
off
feel?
It feels good. The records are supposed to be broken, aren't they?
True.
You know, I think back then it was the largest lease ever. I was heavily involved in Emirates Hills, and you know, I've transacted 72 villas in Emirates Hills,
which is the like Beverly Hills equivalent of
So the largest villas there, the largest leases there, the largest land sale, and I have been knocked off of those purchases. You know, people have come along now and smashed those records out of the water, but that's cool. You know, that's really cool. I remember it was 3 years ago, and I think it was sort of April or May, and we'd done an Emirates Hills transaction for 103 million dirhams, and it was front page of the newspaper, and everyone said, "Well done, great." And I thought, awesome. You know, I've got consecutive years of record breaking, and then like 1 week later, somebody just smashed that out of the ballpark and sold a villa for 200 million and left me in second place. But that's cool as well. You know.
And how stressful were those deals, or were they all put together relatively easily?
No, they're look. My belief is that whether you sell a 200 million dirham villa or a 1-bedroom apartment, the process is the same. You know, it's relationship building. You've either got to have the right stock or a tight relationship with that buyer, or both, you know, in an ideal world. So the process is the same. And the first time I did a big transaction, it was a bit scary. It was a bit you know, but once you've done it
out of bed,
60, 70 times, it's like, copy paste.
Yeah. Okay. And then you touched on successes and failures, and you must have seen a lot. My audience is primarily real estate professionals, and they would love to hear from Titan powerhouses.
Oh my God, this is getting cheesy about it.
Because there's no other opportunity for you to, like, if you're working for a particular agency, you're not going to hear, or you're not going to ever get a training session from another leader. So this is kind of like my, you know, we're giving back to the industry. So with your wealth of experience and knowledge, what separates the successful agents from the failed agents?
Hard work.
That's it?
No, that's not it. I shouldn't make it sound so. But that's the first thing that pops into my mind. You know, and I get asked that question a lot because I've employed a lot of real estate brokers across the years, and I've seen the guys who have smashed it, and I've seen the guys who have failed, and it's usually hard work that differentiates them.
Right.
You know, it's the blood, sweat, and tears. It's the sacrifices of going out with your clients in the evening rather than going down to the pub.
Right, with your mates,
It's sacking off that weekend and doing those extra viewings, whatever it may be. But it all bubbles down to hard work, the grit and resilience, the ability to stand back up, you know, once you've been rejected or knocked over. So they're the first things that spring to mind. Of course, you know, we could get technical. I don't know how much time we've got, but
we've got all the time in the world if it's going to be dripping with golden nuggets. So.
Yeah, well, look, tell me
so
when
that's
to...
mindset.
That's the first thing that springs to mind.
Okay.
Grit and hard work. There are other things as well.
Let's talk about them.
Let's talk. Okay, fine. So I'll give you your audience a few tips out there. Data, not opinions. I think one of your other guests had spoken
Lynette
about that.
says that.
She
says something like,
well, I agree with her. Yeah.
She's got a saying, if without data, you're just another person with an opinion.
Yeah, I like it. And people don't believe real estate brokers. So our opinion is irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know, focus on the data.
Okay.
And I like that. You know, I buy and sell a lot of my own properties as well. Just forget Phoenix Homes for a minute. I buy and sell properties as well as an investor. And I love it when I'm on the receiving end of it. When a broker comes to me and shows me data and stats, I like that.
What kind of data and stats are they showing
what other
you?
units
What
have
impresses
sold
you?
for, different patterns, industry changes. that's the kind of stuff that gets me interested. You know, when someone turns up and says to me, it's a good deal, I'm just like,
Hate that.
I'm not interested. It's a good deal. What, you know, compared to what?
Yeah. Good in whose...
so I think data is important. Obviously, the hard work that we've spoken about.
Staying
Track
on
record.
data. Staying on data. Let's just stay on data. What should an agent be keeping an eye on a daily basis, weekly,
Industry
monthly?
changes, new stock that's in the market, what else is sold? You know, these things are really, really, really important. What else is sold? Because let's be honest, you know, all brokers out there that are listening to this, they've all sat there before and they've had a buyer come up to them and say, well, my friend paid this. And you're thinking, bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, so the beauty with data is you remove that opinion. You can turn around and say, I'm really sorry, Mr. Buyer. Actually, he didn't. He paid
X.
that.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, you're removing opinion. And I think if you use that data to your advantage, if you know how to use it properly, that will take you up another level. That will take you to the next the next level.
Okay. What else?
So there's 3 or 4. No, that's it. That's the golden recipe.
And the failures? Because you could probably spot like, this one's not going to make it.
Sloppiness. I mean, that for me is something I can't stand.
What does sloppiness look like to you?
Just someone that's turning up late, someone that's turning up badly dressed, somebody that's turning up unorganized. Sloppiness. You know, for me, if I look at a broker and I think he or she is sloppy, I don't want to do business with them. I want to do business with somebody who's sharp, on the game, you know, and they've got their shit together.
And we are like maybe a little bit old school. We were just talking about Uncle Pete, Peter Rollings.
I am. You're not as old as me. I'm old school.
I'm older than you.
Are you?
I'm 44.
You are old.
Yeah, I'll be 45 at the end of this month.
Your grandma.
Maybe we cut that bit out. No, I'm joking. See, you can leave it in. I'm owning it.
You're looking good for 44. Don't
Thank
worry.
you. Yeah,
Don't worry.
Some of my friends have actually become grandmas now.
Have
and
they
it's
really?
Like,
Yeah,
really?
that's
Is
awful.
this happening? So we were talking earlier about Peter's episode,
Yeah, I
and
like that one,
we both liked it, but conscious that that's our generation. Some of that is not necessarily going to apply to the next generation.
Pete's not our generation. Pete, no disrespect, but you're not my generation.
Okay,
I love
little
Pete to bits, but he's not
all
our
right,
generation.
Probably 60 something.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
he's a generation.
All right, generation.
I enjoyed that
Bob.
episode as well. I buy into a lot of what he was he was saying.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. What did you agree with and what did you disagree with?
The whole working from home
thing.
thing. That's
You
a very,
agree with
That's
that,
a very
or-
polite way of
The
putting it.
work from home.
No, I buy into his school of. I mean, I know Pete from back in England, and you know, I like him. I admire what he's achieved, and he's somebody that I salute. And you know, we've got a similar mindset.
Yeah.
And I think if you'd asked Pete the same question about you know, what makes a successful broker, I reckon he would have agreed with my first
same
comment
answers.
as well, in terms of blood, sweat, and tears and hard work. And you can't train that, can you?
No, it's either you've either got
You're
it
either
or
a
you
hustler.
don't.
You're either going to work hard, or you're going to find a way to blag it. And if you blag it, eventually you get caught out.
Yeah. And so what else did he say? He was very strict on appearances, as you're saying. You should be sloppy. They probably took it to the extreme of no stubble.
Yeah. So that's me fired, isn't it?
So that's you
That's me
gone today.
I'll make the coffees.
And he said no brown shoes.
Oh,
well, you're
I'm
wearing
done.
jeans, so
Yeah.
it's fine. Brown shoes with black suits or something. All these rules.
I think
but-
the world has changed, though.
Yeah.
I mean, dress code. Well, look at me now. I'm wearing a pair of jeans. I think I look relatively smart.
Business casual.
But business casual. Yeah, you know, those days of... and it's interesting because you were talking about the 2 companies that I've been involved in and owned and part-owned. My first powerhouse was old school. You know, it was everybody in at 9 o'clock. Everybody wearing a suit and tie, white shirt.
Call outs.
Call outs.
Yeah.
It was old school.
Boiler
Phoenix, what we're doing now, is a lot more progressive.
New school. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot more up. Yeah, it is.
Okay,
It's new,
so-
new school. It is new school.
Was some of it, and I'm interested to hear what's different
Learning
about
curve,
Phoenix. Was there anything in Phoenix that you've instilled because of the next
Totally.
generation that you're
Totally.
like,
You got to get with the times, haven't you? You got to
all
move.
right, what have
gotta
you
move.
bent on?
You
What
got
have you
to
had to?
well, office hours. I mean, I was a Hitler for getting people in at 9 o'clock, and I look back at that now, and I cringe Because I think, I mean, I wouldn't turn up at 9 o'clock. I might have taken a client out, and had a few bottles of wine the night before, or a few bottles of Vimto or whatever we're allowed to say here. But, and then I would have cruised in at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And I'm like, that's so hypocritical that I was asking people to do that.
Yeah.
So I've changed my mindset, and I've sort of grown with the times in terms of, that's one example. Office hours at Phoenix, people come and go whenever they want.
Yeah.
It's a lot more progressive. It's designed for adults. So office hours is one thing. Dress code. What I'm wearing right now is so much more casual.
Would you have sent you home?
I would have sent me home. I wouldn't have even come in. I would have got a disciplinary for myself.
Brilliant.
So the world has changed, hasn't it? And when I sold Powerhouse, that was the COVID years. The COVID years that everyone remembers, and
the Great Reset.
It was. It was a great reset for the industry, and for me as an individual. It sort of gave me time to take stock and go, okay, when I look back in reflection of Powerhouse, there's so many things that I should have changed earlier. But sometimes you can't see the wood from the trees, can you? When you're in it. Yeah. So to take that sort of step back, and I was thinking moving back to England and all of these things, and it's only when you sort of step away from something that you realize, actually, I could do this again.
What's the key differentiator?
With the two companies. Powerhouse was, look, in its day, it was a brilliant company.
You were like top.
Yeah, we were a fantastic company back in the day. But and I don't know where it is at the moment, and I wish them good luck. But it's so different to Phoenix. I think when the commission structure is the biggest thing.
Okay,
that's the biggest thing.
Let's
so
talk
our
about
model
that.
at the moment is that brokers contribute towards their marketing, 1,000 dirhams, 2,000 dirhams a month, but they take a flat 80%.
Okay.
So naturally, if a broker is good, they're going to like that, and they're going to come over to us.
Yeah.
A junior broker who's doing 10,000 dirhams a month won't like my model.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose situation. So a junior broker, I tell them, stay at the high street agencies. Stay there on your 50-50
Get your
model.
training, get your...
Absolutely. Our model gets interesting if a broker's doing 50,000 dirhams a month, which is still only a mid-level broker, going up to your heavyweights who are doing 100, 200, 300,000 dirhams a month. That's when
It's
the Phoenix
interesting.
model absolutely makes sense, because otherwise they're going to stay where they are on 50, 60%, and they're going to get ripped off. And quite frankly, I think most brokers in Dubai are getting ripped off.
But when you say ripped off, so it's like the costs involved in running a business, and I've had several guests on the show explain how much money goes into and risk goes into, they're carrying the risk, they're carrying all the expenses, big offices, all this culture, all this environment. Why is it a rip-off?
And I think company owners massively over-exaggerate the costs of running a company in order to keep their brokers. And do you know what? I've done it as well. I've done it in the past where I've sat there and I've said that, ABC costs an absolute fortune. And do you know what? It doesn't. I know the cost of running a real estate company better than anybody. I know the cost of support staff, trade licenses, property finder, all the web portals, office spent. I know what that costs. And that's why I can say with my hand on my heart that if you are a broker out there on 50-50, you're getting ripped off. Unless, there are exceptions, by the way. I think junior brokers who have just arrived in Dubai, I think it's fine if they're on 50-50. I think if I was a 21-year-old kid and I've just turned up in Dubai, I think it is fine to go and join one of those 50-50 models because you're benefiting from the training and the support and the guidance, and someone's going to do your form A's, B's. At that point, I think it's fine. But I think once you've reached a certain level in your career, once you've been doing it and you know how to do a deal and you know how to make a call and you know how to conduct a viewing, that's the point where I'm calling out brokers and I'm telling them you're getting ripped off.
Right. Okay.
So I don't say it sort of carte blanche across the board.
I mean, for sure in a lot of agencies, and I'm sure in every agency, you've got your top hitters that would not be on 50%. They're going to have...
They might go up to 55 or 60%, even 60%.
Or 75,
Whoa.
or there might be slabs.
Yeah, they're getting fully ripped off.
Okay, look, as a business owner, what about that? You're forgetting the element of having some money aside, which I'm guessing the part, that 55 to 80 mark. which you're saying is the rip-off part, that surely should be reinvested back into the business to ensure.
Yeah, and it's something that we encourage. I think pulling out 80% is nice, but you have to reinvest. 80% of nothing is still nothing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really important that these guys, but look, the kind of people that we're employing, they're the top guys in the industry.
Okay.
They're intelligent. They're businessmen, they're businesswomen. They don't need to be told what time to come in the morning. They're beyond that. So putting 1,000, you know, and they're taking home 100, 200, 300 grand a month. Reinvesting 1,000 dirhams, 2,000 dirhams into their marketing budget, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're so beyond that. You know, if I tell them, look, you know, you owe us 2,000 dirhams for a stack of featured listings on Property Finder, and they've just pulled out 200 grand, but they've been paid on 80% and not 60%. Do you think they care? They don't care. Of course they don't.
But what about you? Are you able to grow the business, continually grow the business on your 20%?
Yeah, we only take a small slice, don't we? But I think that answers the question before in terms of, you know, first of all, is it sustainable? Obviously. I mean, we weren't sure if Phoenix was going to take off 2 years ago because we did something different and we disrupted the market. And I know that I pissed off a load of other real estate company owners out there by doing it, because we're offering a much better commission structure with equal amounts of support, training and guidance. So naturally that's rocked the apple cart a little bit. And people said it won't work. Well, let's fast forward to today. You know, the turnover of Phoenix is phenomenal. We've got 50 really experienced, solid brokers at Phoenix. We're no longer a startup.
Yeah.
You know, now when we launched it 3 years ago, it was a bit nerve-wracking, and we thought maybe it's not going to work because the first sort of 6 months were a bit bumpy. Now we are we're a mid-sized player. You know, we're back in the game. But everybody at Phoenix is experienced. And of course, we've got some brokers who are stronger and some not as strong. I think that's in any real estate company, that's the case. But the difference is every single person at Phoenix knows how to do the job.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful environment to be in, because I've worked in environments where you're surrounded by junior brokers and it's awful.
Yeah.
You know, you're sitting next to Bob and Dave and John, and they've just arrived and they're asking you how to get there.
I haven't got a clue.
Talking about their little brunches and what's going on here with their hire cars. That's not Phoenix.
The levels of conversation.
You walk into Phoenix and people have bought their second, third, 10th property. They're flying off here in their flying first class. The car park downstairs, the chauffeur-driven car. It's a much more elite environment when you walk into Phoenix versus the high street model,
yeah. Because actually, funnily enough, I was having lunch the other day with Steph, shout out to Steph.
Such a socialite, aren't you?
You know, that was the day that you called me and you were like, how long is this lunch taking?
Yeah, 5 o'clock. Who's finishing their lunch at 5 o'clock? Wow, you're making too much money.
So, and funnily enough, I said, oh, I'm interviewing Myles Bush from Phoenix Homes. She was like, oh, that's where Ali Saleh works.
Good guy, great guy.
And I've been following him on Instagram. I love his reels. And he's got his own kind of brand going. And I never knew who he worked for.
People are building a company inside of our company.
Yeah, so I kind of thought, so he's kind of got like a brokerage within your brokerage. Then it clicked to me. I was like, okay, you've given them that freedom or support or you kind of let them set up their own. You're not wedded to them saying, I'm a Phoenix Homes.
If somebody, I mean, that's what we're trying to encourage. You know, if you're a secondary market broker, you might want to spend 1,000 dirhams, 2,000 dirhams a month on say Property Finder or Beirut or Dibizzle, you know, to get that listing exposure. But if you're an off-plan broker, you might prefer to spend that on different social media campaigns,
boosting and
absolutely, exactly, you get it exactly. So. You know, Ali, he's a phenomenal guy to work with. He's doing well. Michael McGee's over there now. He's smashing it. He's with us. Sarah Sinclair, you know, a massive name in the market. Nick Vesti. You know, a lot of these heavyweights are now sick and tired of working in the high street model, and they've now joined us. So
okay. So, do you support them in that marketing kind of like developing their own brand?
Yeah,
because I do see this, and I'm seeing this in the UK as well, the rise of that self-employed model. And I think things are starting to shift.
They are, aren't they? And I love that.
I think you might be onto something.
I think so as well. We're ahead of the curve. In the UK, typically the model is a basic salary, a small basic salary, 20, 30 grand a year.
And a very small commission.
And 10%.
10%.
You got it, exactly. In Dubai, typically the
you're
model
one of those Dubai.
50-50, isn't it? It's typically 50-50. In America, it's more like our model. If you watch, I'm sure you've all seen that Selling Sunset, $1 million listing. Do you think those guys are on 50-50? No. They pay towards their desk space and they take a much bigger
those
commission.
in Selling Sunset.
And that's exactly how we operate. All we've done, to be quite frank, all we've done is we've copied the American model. And when people come in and they say it's a genius model, it's not. We're
not reinventing the wheel.
We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just doing it, a bit more progressively, and we've just copied the American model. That's what we've done.
But there is that caveat where it only should work for experienced agents. Otherwise, if you're young, if you're coming into the industry, or if you're 1 year, 2 year, you haven't quite made it, you need that network around you. 100%. You need to be around other agents. What about your guys? Like, where are they learning from? So,
me?
Okay.
Me?
Are you in the office?
My business partners, not at 9 o'clock, I'm not. The partners that are involved. I mean, learning from each other though. I mean, I think I compare it to sports. If I was a football player and I was playing for a really good team, then I'm probably going to get better. It's going to help me become a better football player.
Because you're around the other players.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, the same in reverse. If I'm playing on a really crap pub team, I'm probably going to get worse.
Right.
And real estate is the same. So if you surround yourself by heavy hitters and experienced veterans and powerhouses, you're probably going to get better. Yeah,
but you're the equivalent. So you as CEO and your business partners or directors or anything.
Direct co-founders.
They're the coaches.
Yeah.
They're the coach equivalent in the football analogy.
But I still want to be surrounded by other good players as well.
Right. So how do you get if you've given the freedom to these agents to come and go as they please, how do you get that team of players on the same pitch?
Oh, look, there's still a great company culture. With that. We're not just, we still do team activities. We still have those Monday morning meetings.
Okay.
It's just managed in a lot more of a mature way.
And do you think most of it is going on to like WhatsApp groups now? Or
Totally. A load of it. We've got we're guilty as charged. We've got best hot property WhatsApp groups and different buyers. So we're still exchanging that flow of information. And I think that's really important, regardless of what the commission structure is. I think to have that open door policy and to have that exchange of information and data is vital. And I hope that will never change, even as we scale up. We're now a 50-man band. The next milestone is, of course, to get up to 100 and to get bigger and better than what I'd achieved before. But those fundamentals will never change. There's still a lovely team spirit, but we just don't force people to come in at 9 o'clock and do those.
Okay. And you mentioned it's 1,000 to 2,000. Is it?
You can spend whatever you like. Look.
What are you spending on?
Okay, so let's use Property Finder as a barometer. You can spend as much as you want. Naturally, if you go and get a stack of premium listings, it's going to be more expensive. But if you're happy with a handful of featured listings or standard listings, it's going to cost a couple of hundred dirhams. It's really not as expensive as company owners make out. And look, I've got guys that are spending 200-300 dirhams a month, peanuts, on a couple of listings because they prefer to work in that manner where they've only got 3 or 4 exclusive listings. I've got other guys in the team who love to have premium listings, and they spend a little bit more money. But I think the beauty is you're in control. You're not having to go up to your sales manager
and
beg and push it. Please can I have a featured list? Please can I make it premium? If you want a premium, pay for it, and it's online in 10 seconds.
So is it a pay-as-you-go type model?
You got it. We'll sit down with that person. We'll still organize it. We manage it. We organize it. We run that for them. But the difference is when the bill comes, you're picking up the bill, but you're picking up 80% of the commission.
So your top hitters, how much would you say they're spending on marketing?
3,000 dirhams a month.
3,000-ish, okay. And what about administrative support?
We've got all of that. We've still got in-house IT,
sales
in-house
progression.
sales progression. If you need help with your Form A's, B's, F's, none of that changes. You know, we're still a super supportive, probably more so than most agencies. And I think this is where there's a misconception about Phoenix. They think you're out on your own.
Yeah.
You're really not. You know, we still have that Monday morning meeting. We have Wednesday training sessions. So every week we're doing a different topic on a Wednesday, and we're doing the same on a Friday. The difference is it's optional. You know, keep in mind the kind of people that I'm employing. They're heavyweights. If I call them up and tell them you must come in for a business development training, they're going to tell me to piss off.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a more progressive, forward-thinking kind of mindset. But the training and the weekly touch points are still there if you want. So if you want to be distanced from us and just come in once a week with a deal, that's cool. And similarly, if you want to come in every morning and be based from the office, that's cool as well.
Yeah.
So we sort of
Flexible.
cater for, yeah, totally.
And what's your opinion, like stepping out of the, you know, they can come in or they can, what's your personal opinion on like personal development, education, and, you know, yes, you might be a great agent, but there's still more to learn.
Oh, definitely.
And you might not be doing it in the best way possible.
We're all still learning.
Yeah.
We're all still learning, aren't we? I mean, I listen into some of the brokers in the office and I'm picking up tips and tricks. And I'm thinking, wow,
Things
that's
evolve,
really sharp. Of course. And some people are open.
Give us
to that.
one. Give us something
No,
that you
I've already given you.
share golden
I've already
nugget.
given you my best golden nuggets.
We want multiple golden nuggets. Yeah.
But you know, I'm listening into some of these guys, and I'm just thinking, wow, we really have got some sharp people in the office, and I'm learning. Some people are open, aren't they? I don't think I think forget real estate for a minute. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. Some people are open to learning and progression. And some people, especially in real estate, they've got an ego. They don't want to learn. They know best.
Yeah.
They know best. And that's cool. At the end of the day, I think judge people by their results.
And we were having a conversation, weren't we, about conferences and seminars and educational stuff. And we're talking about how YouTube is now taking over all of this, because people want to learn when they want to learn, not, you know, don't invite me to a conference and I don't know what I'm going to get out of it, and I'm expected to network. And I've moderated a lot of panels recently. I've been to a lot of conferences with huge capacity, and then you get there and it's like it's a 3-day event and people only show up on day one.
I don't know how people have got time for it.
And then it's like the rest of the days it's just the exhibitors and the speakers. And I'm like, are we witnessing the end of conference and exhibition season? And you know why? I've got my theory
It's going online.
Huh?
It's going online.
It's going online, yeah. Because
Look at your business. Look at this.
People love it. And you know why? And I'm guilty of it too. I don't want to watch TV anymore, and I'm really struggling to even watch Netflix. But I will gladly switch on YouTube.
That's because you're still on lunch. You're still on your 4-hour lunch.
I've got to fit it in somehow. But I'll gladly stick on YouTube, have a Joe Rogan or Stephen Bartlett 2-hour podcast episode that I might just pick up a few snippets from. And that's how people want to learn these days, I think. Or is it? And here's a challenge. Here's one for you. You might be able to answer. Is it because we feel quite disconnected as a generation now, because everything's going online? Do we feel like I need to hear Stephen Bartlett in my living room?
I think you're asking the wrong. I mean, keep in mind, I'm a tech dinosaur.
Yeah, can you? Where's your phone?
I've still got like a Nokia 3310.
Can we just grab Miles's phone?
Grab my phone.
I said he whipped it out.
I don't know how to download apps.
He whipped it out
I'm fully
to
useless,
put it on
and I should go
silent.
back to my cave.
He whipped it out to put it on silent, and I was like, Miles, what on earth
shout out
is
to the
that?
old school. I don't even know what it is,
And
but it's
I
got an
only-
alarm clock, and I can send WhatsApps. And
I thought it was an Android until I saw the back, and I was like,
I
it's
don't
an
even know
iPhone. It's
what
an
it is.
iPhone, so it must be like
but
one
it
of
works. It's done the job, hasn't it? It's done the job.
Miles, I expect more from you.
You're not getting it. You're not getting it.
You
I
should be
love
at
it.
least on a 15. No, is it a 15? 14.
I don't know, but I haven't got time to go and change that. You know, why do I need the newest? It doesn't interest. Tech does not interest me at all. Fortunately, we've got good tech people in the business who just laugh at me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But that's everyone's got their. But going back to your point, I think our generation have got so much more disciplined in how they spend their time, and if I've got the
I respect
do you
that,
remember as a
yeah.
kid, you'd sort of sit there and, you'd watch
Wait
a TV
for
program.
Neighbours to
and
come on,
yeah.
5:35. Do you remember?
Home and
Yeah.
Away and Neighbours. And you've got,
That was our
you've
routine.
got some adverts in the middle and you're sitting there just watching them and you're okay with that. Now people haven't got that attention span. And they're thinking, cut the crap, let's get to the point, and I want to watch that, and I want to watch it now.
Yeah.
So I think sort of, the line of business that you're in is great, isn't it? Because I can log on, I can literally choose, okay, I want to watch that podcast,
Yeah.
I like that guy, I don't like that guy, and I can get that information.
And not just that, I put chapter markers. So if you click down below, you see, if you don't want to sit and watch through the whole episode, you can just click on the interesting, the parts that interest
Do
you.
you reckon that's what people are going to do on this one? They're just
Skip
going to go
to,
Myles Bush end, just skip.
Skip to the very end. I wonder what chapter we'll have at the very end. We'll see. A shocking statement by Myles Bush. But then there's the next generation, not the generation after us, the one after.
Yeah.
They're needing the information. They want Myles Bush in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Like 1 hour is too long. So they want it even more
not very
condensed.
nice.
That's why they're like TikTok generation.
Yeah.
So that's why I also produce shorts. So all the best bits will be found on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok.
I reckon you've got much better guests than me to talk about tech with. I reckon you've got some tech whizzes out there. But
yes,
when
you
you're
were
talking
definitely
to me
not going to
about
make the
TikTok, I mean, can you imagine me doing it?
right. Can I just
I struggle
explain?
turning my phone on.
Can I just
I think I have a
explain?
TikTok account. No.
Myles came in. He's not on Instagram. He's not on
I'm not on any of it.
TikTok. Okay, you must live quite a free life.
I'm a happy man. I'm a happy. Listen, the companies that I have owned or run or managed, we are on social
Socials,
media.
yeah.
But me personally, I'm not on. That's not me.
Why? Never been? Were you never into High Five or what was it, MySpace and all of that?
No, look, I had a Facebook account where I think I've got like 200 people, and hopefully I'll get that down to 100 soon. I'm still on like a culling spree.
You're culling space.
And for me, that's a very private world. My connections might be my mum,
Yeah,
my nan,
aunties,
my auntie.
yeah,
They're not going to buy an Emirates Hills house from me.
No,
So
no.
I keep business and pleasure as I keep my personal life very, very, very personal. Businesses, I see the benefit in social media, but I just don't like social media in my personal life.
Have you always been quite private person?
Totally. Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to shout out, and I'm happy to boast and beat my chest about charity things that I've been involved in.
Talk to me.
I will in a minute, but those things I'm happy to do it. But in terms of showboating, when I see so many people in this industry who are posting their new car, their new, that's not me.
But doesn't it inspire? Doesn't it make?
Potentially.
Doesn't it give you, put this person on not a pedestal, but make you believe that this is a successful person? I want to be associated with.
Yeah,
them.
but
Are
that's
you
not where I'm
missing
going to get
out?
my happiness. If somebody else is looking at that as inspiration, that's cool. But it doesn't mean it's going to make me happy. And I used to do it. When I was 25, 26, I went out and bought my first Ferrari when I was 25. I had Rolls, I had a Bentley, I had a Rolls. When I was in my mid-20s, I was beating my chest and I was showboating and I was putting that on social media. And I look back on it now and honestly, I cringe. And I just think, what was I doing?
Yeah.
As you get older, you change. And look, if somebody is into posting those materialistic things, that's cool. I'm not going to judge them, but it's just not me.
And do you kind of feel, okay, if we were to have a look at your, if you were to just open up your Facebook.
I don't even know how to turn it on.
Okay, wrong question. If we were to take a peek into your life, what would we see?
Quite a simple person. I work really hard during the day. I love going home. I love seeing my wife and daughter and putting my little one to bed, reading her a book every night. I still like to go out with my mates and have a few beers, but I try and keep life simple. That's what you'd see.
Okay.
Simplicity.
Let's go back to that charity work.
Yeah. That stuff I'm really proud of that. I'm a lot more proud about what I've done in the world of charities than I am in my business.
In real estate?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Totally. I mean, last year I got a phone call from a charity and they said, would you contribute towards an ambulance, getting an ambulance from the UK over to Ukraine? I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about these things, but yeah.
I mean, I don't.
Okay.
Maybe
fine.
YouTube.
So,
might,
so basically, I said yes. I will contribute, and I'll buy it outright. So I single-handedly
bought an ambulance.
Yeah, I bought an ambulance, and then I said I'll drive it as well. And they said, "Are you mad?" So I flew to England, and I drove this ambulance from England, obviously France, Germany, Belgium, Poland, and then I gifted it to the guys in Ukraine who have, who need it.
But don't they need like hundreds of
Yeah,
ambulances?
but if everyone can do something, you can only do so much, can't you? But
so you're responsible for one of those.
I bought one of those, and I hope it's helped and saved lots of people. I don't know how much help it is, but it's those kind of things. I've climbed 3 of the highest mountains in the world, and I've done those. For, I mean, I did a great climb in Mount Elbrus, which is the highest point of Europe on the Russia. Calcicus mountain, I can never pronounce it. That's the highest mountain in Europe, and I did that for the King Hussein Cancer Foundation, which is helping young kids who are
King Hussein?
Jordan.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff that excites me. That's the stuff that I'm really proud of, and I don't mind.
So what you get like sponsorship for it or GoFundMe?
Yeah. Sometimes we've gone out to different sponsors. Sometimes I've done it single-handedly. I mean, I'm in a fortunate position that I can do that.
Yeah.
So I get off on that kind of stuff.
And how does it make you feel after?
Oh, it's great. And again, we develop. Some people still get off on having that brand new car, and I used to as well. I remember when I went out and bought that first Ferrari, and it was an amazing feeling. But after a month, 2 months, 3 months, I'm bored of it.
Yeah.
And
then you need the next
exactly
the next buzz.
Yeah. So I sold that, bought a Bentley, got a Rolls Royce, and it sort of keeps that positive feeling going. But it's short-lived.
And it never ends.
And let's be honest, nobody really cares. I think more people look at you now in today's world, which is quite sad. I think more people look at you with venom and with jealousy than admiration.
Funny
which
you
is
should say
sad, isn't it?
Funny you say that, because yesterday I went to a company's office. I won't mention who they were. I went to an office. Guests who have been on the show. And as I was leaving, I was like, "Oh, let me take a photo of their lobby and sign." And then someone in the lift, he was like, I turned around, I was like, "Oh, social media," and he's like, "You shouldn't put everything on thing." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "People are jealous and envious. It's not good." And I was like, "Oh, it's starting to sound like my mum again." But
it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
it's human nature, isn't it? I think if you need to put it on social media, if you really have the need to do that, cool, crack on. You do you. But I don't. That's not where that's not where I get my enjoyment from. Things like those charity things, I'm happy to shout about that. I'm happy to tell your audience, and that's the kind of stuff that I'm really proud of. Selling the most expensive villa or land sales or buying flashy cars and that.
Flying business class.
It's cringeable. Do you know what I mean?
Like when did we ever?
Here's my boarding card of a first class.
When did we ever do that? I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. When I did fly first class to New York, I documented the hell out of it. I documented the hell out of it. But that's only because like first class is not my norm, right? Yeah. Business has become my norm, and I'm not just I don't travel as much because business is my norm. Yeah. But I don't post it. So what you're showing is kind of like your next level up rather than, and sometimes it's just people pushing themselves. But like you said, does anyone care? And are they looking at that thinking, no, oh, I hope you lose it tomorrow? Yeah.
I think there's more negativity out there looking at that rather than admiration.
Are you quite a spiritual person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not religious, but yeah.
Okay. So what?
Just putting out positive vibes, I've got that Facebook account that I told you about where I'll often sort of post a motivational clip or something like that. And if that helps somebody else, then I'm happy with that. But if I put up a new picture of a new Rolls Royce, please just shoot me in the head.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of, social media, we're not likely to see it on anytime soon. Okay.
No.
Okay. Right. So as coming from the real estate industry since pre-2008, expert in real estate, also a serial investor yourself, I would like to get your home buyer tips.
Okay.
So I would like to, let's say I'm thinking about buying now, and I feel like maybe prices, and these are conversations I'm having quite often. People are like, a price is going to come down.
Just do it.
Just do it. Don't wait. Stop waiting. She's like, oh, you know.
What's your alternative? You're going to rent.
Renting.
Or
again, investing in other areas, investing in your home.
No, but your home's got to be first, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That's got to be, you know, you can have shares, you can have crypto, you can have lumps of gold bullion underneath your bed. You need a house, you need a home, you need a roof over your head. And this is something that I tell my staff. I think a lot of people over analyze and they over worry about market prices. Is it going to go up 10%? Is it going to drop 10%? I think let's just go back, way back. You know, when real estate started, and I was buying your cave off of you. You know, it was a dwelling. It was your protection. You need a roof over your head, and you are either going to buy or you're going to rent. Yeah. Nobody is staying in Dubai homeless. They're not sleeping under a bridge.
Right.
They're either a tenant or they're a buyer. So I think you've got to make that decision. And I think that decision is spurred on by how long are you planning to be in this area. If I meet someone and they say to me, I'm going to be in Dubai for
2 years.
Well, 1 year, then I'd probably say, yeah, rent.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, yeah. I might be talking myself out of a deal, but that's the truth. If I meet someone and they say, I'm going to be here for 5 years or more,
then buy.
100% buy.
Yeah. But let's be honest.
100% buy.
Did you think you'd be here longer than 2 years when you first
No,
came?
I'm still in my 2-year plan. I'm still.
I'm
still. Yeah. I'm
what
still
is
in
it?
my
We just get
2-year plan.
sucked in and
it's addictive, isn't it? I'll just do one more year. One more year. Just one more.
And then back to the UK.
17 years later.
Can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, going back to your question, just don't overthink it. Just buy. Get it done. Rip the bandage off. Call Phoenix Homes. Shout out Phoenix Homes.
Could we have a classier plug? A more discreet plug, perhaps? All right. Any more tips for home buyers?
No, just get it done.
Just get it done.
Just get it done. Keep it simple.
Through Phoenix Homes. All right. Brilliant. Anything else you want to tell the audience?
Not at all. No.
You've got all your golden nuggets off your chest.
Trying to get me on it. You've got me on. I hope I've shed a bit of light, and I hope I've helped a few people out there.
I think you will have done.
There's a few golden nuggets there.
There's a few golden nuggets in that conversation. And if people want to find you,
they won't.
They won't.
I'm in my cave.
Fine. So we'll have to bring you on another time.
Walk into my office and come and have a coffee with me. Do you know what? If somebody really wants to get to know, come and have a coffee with me.
Where's your office?
In Tecom, or Barsha Heights as it's now.
Okay.
The posh version.
Right.
I Rise Tower. Lovely tower.
Oh, yeah, I Rise, yeah. Okay.
Great building to be in. But I'm serious, you know, jokes aside, if someone wants to find me, yeah, walk in and come and say hi.
You've got a trustee's office downstairs, haven't you?
Dorchester, yeah.
Yeah, do you just hang out?
It's great.
Or send your
agents? Hanging out outside trustee offices, but I probably would if I was, you know, those golden nuggets that you were saying about earlier.
Yeah, that's one of them.
What a great place. If I was a budding junior broker today, that's exactly where I'd be hanging out.
The trustee's office.
Totally.
Right. So you know when we were talking earlier about the chapter markers, and I'll be like, right, go straight to the end of this episode, minute 58.
It's true. What a great place to hang out, you know.
And then what would you say? How would you approach someone? First of all, you've got to look like.
Myles, I just noticed that you've just purchased that property over there on Palm Jumeirah. I just wanted to
Do you want to sell it?
I was going to say congrats first. I was going to say well done and congrats first. Do you want to resell it? Yeah. Is that would that be your approach? Hi, I'm Sylv. Do you want to resell your property? Who's this nutter?
Absolutely not. And I'm that kind of honest. Like if I was, and when I was a broker, I was extremely honest. Maybe to the detriment of my finances, but I'd say to people, absolutely no, don't sell that, don't rent that. Oh, it's ghastly. We can get you better than this.
Love that.
So
Do you want a job?
yeah.
Do you want a job?
I'll let you know.
I'll do your podcast.
I'll let you know if this
Can I do your
don't work
podcast? I'll
Should we
start with this. And you can run a real estate.
Do you want to swap places?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I'll come and interview. All right, so we're doing it.
We're doing this.
Give me the iPad.
All right.
I'm going to run this interview.
All right. Let's do a little dry run. That's your good side, isn't it?
Welcome to.
We're just doing a little roll revert. I'm interviewing.
Welcome to
him.
Golden Nuggets. I'm Myles Bush. My guest today, you might know, you may or may not know. Who's your best guest so far?
Oh gosh.
Myles
Current
Bush.
excluded.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't stop singing his praises. I really like Paul Christodoulou.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, like he surprised me on a lot of things.
Shout out Paul.
Shout out Paul.
Good.
Next
Who's
one.
your funniest?
Dan Haddy.
Is he funny? Is he funny?
He made me laugh.
Who's your worst guest? Who's your worst guest?
Will you say?
The worst guest. He knows who he is. And it was an episode that didn't get aired.
Really?
Yeah. We were both terrible.
Did you do an episode that didn't get
very
aired?
early days, and it was not good.
Is this going to get aired?
Huh?
Is this going to get aired?
Yeah.
You sure?
No, it's quality. That one was terrible. It's my early days.
That's my interviewing
Okay,
skills
I think
right
you'd
there.
make quite a good host.
Do you?
Yeah.
But
Do you want to tell him to?
I wouldn't be able to work all of your tech. I'm looking at all these cameras and
need
mics.
to work the tech.
I wouldn't know what to do with it.
All right. How about you do the closing and say like all you've got to, like the call to action at the end is to like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Big shout out to the Golden Nuggets team. Have a good one.